Welcome to Lift Your Story podcast with guest Rachel LeRoy, custom map designer and founder of Hip Maps. Hi everyone, I'm Lorianne. I am that gal from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and I'm with.
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas. Welcome to our Lift Your Story podcast.
In this episode, we welcome Rachel LeRoy, and very interesting, she's a custom map designer and founder of Hip Maps. Thank you so much for being here with us.
So happy to be here with you.
So how did you come up with the concept for Hip Maps? I mean, this is pretty unique.
Yeah, it took a long time in the making. It started with, I've always loved maps. Was fascinated with them as a kid. And I took a mapping class in college, and I created maps in several different jobs through the years. And when I decided to go out and be a consultant, I thought I really need maps to be part of what I do because I love making them. And I think there need to be more maps in the world. I really do. They're just such a great visual to help people learn and understand and have perspective. So I originally thought about making maps for weddings. And the idea was that the host of the wedding, the couple, they were going to share their recommendations with their guests who are coming in from out of town. And they're going to say, here's our favorite restaurants and the coffee shops and the things in this area to do in the time that you're not actually at our wedding. And I launched this idea the same week that COVID shut down the whole US. And then everyone canceled their weddings. So that was fun. And I basically did a lot of learning in 2020, as a lot of people did, and shifted and learned what was working and what was not. And I created Hip Maps as a result of that initial idea. And I created my own smartphone app so that the maps that I make can be shared with people and they can see their location right on the custom map, and they can get directions right there, and they can get their host comments about, the best burger in town is at this place. And that's kind of how it ended up. I also started thinking about how other places could use this kind of thing besides weddings. And I love to travel. I absolutely adore going to new places. And one of my first thoughts was, I would love to have this kind of thing when I'm passing through a town and I stay at an Airbnb or vacation rental property. And, I want to know where the local market is and the best pizza in town. And if someone could give me this, I would just think that it would take my experience up a notch. So that's how the Hip Maps concept came about.
Now, is technology in your background? I mean, you said you created your own phone app, so.
Yeah, no, technology. I am relatively technologically savvy, I would say. But building my own smartphone app is absolutely not in my skill set. And I was very lucky to hire a great company in Michigan to work with me. And, the concept and the design is mine, but I didn't actually write the code.
Okay.
And I don't really ever want to know what that's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have enough lifetime left to learn any more new skills, right?
Yeah.
I have a question. So I know that when I was really young, we lived in Turkey, and of course we traveled through Europe while we're there because everything's so close by. And one of the things that we were really big on, my dad wanted to go to places that were non-touristy. So I would imagine this is very helpful to allow for people to see things that are non-touristy. Same thing when my ex-husband and I went to Bermuda, we talked to the locals to say, hey, what do tourists don't know about that we want to go to? And they would let us know. So
absolutely. Yeah. This, sharing what is super cool and unique about your area, the person who's sharing this map with the people coming in from out of town, that's the greatest part. And I I've learned a lot about places that I have made maps for. And, it's kind of a blessing in disguise because I end up wanting to go every single place that I make a map for. Like, oh, that place sounds great. I want to go there now.
Well, it's interesting because we were on vacation this summer. We were in South Dakota and we went this place and asked the guy at the hotel, what's some good restaurants? Well, he said, he gave me like 4 pages. He had actually himself made a PDF, printed them out, steak, seafood, pizza, burger, whatever. He had all the addresses, all the phone numbers, and he had like, got price, what he thought, the price value. I thought that's pretty neat. But so your app would just basically do the same thing, wouldn't it?
Right. It takes the list and turns it into a visual on a map. And the map is, branded and styled however the owner wants it to be. And then the cool thing is you can see where you are in relation to everything else. So
Yeah.
you can see your little blue dot right on the map. And so you'll know, oh, I could actually walk to the steakhouse where I would have to drive across town to the seafood place.
That's smart.
So like at the XYZ hotel, could they have their hip map? And so people will say, where's a good place to go? He's, go here. Here's this app, go here. It'll show you everything you want to know.
You got it. Yeah. Everybody gets an access code because I don't want all the maps to be available publicly, right? Like somebody's, business conference, they don't want to have their map available to everyone else. So everybody gets an access code. And so the hotel would say, scan this QR code, download the app, enter, hotel XYZ, and boom, the map's right there.
And would be realistic too, right? Because I remember going to Tucson and they had a tourist map, right? And they said, I looked at the zoo in comparison to where I was. And I'm going, oh yeah, that's not far to go. Oh yeah, it was far to go. I was so burnt by the time I got there. It was horrible. No.
Oh yeah. Perspective is such an important thing. And, that's one of the things that I feel like we've lost a little bit. The smartphones and having Google Maps and Apple Maps at our fingertips. It's awesome. Like you have so much information, but you kind of lose perspective when you're zooming in and zooming out. And that's tough for people who have never really looked at a paper map and thought about, well, if this is one block, then, the half the page is a longer walk.
Oh, this was cartoon though, so they totally had it off. It was like,
Oh gosh.
a cat back. I was really literally that burnt.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like going to a hotel and getting Wi-Fi, right? I mean, it's the same concept.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty amazing.
I love
Because
it.
everybody wants to be on their phone. They don't want
Yeah.
paper. I want to be able to look it up on my phone.
Yeah.
Now, there's a question though. If it's customized and everything, do you offer the opportunity for people to have printed ones out as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. I actually design every one as if it would be printed because I want it to be a beautiful visual. And if I design it as if it's going to be printed, then I know it's going to look good on the screen. So for my clients, I encourage them to do a printed copy, just one to show people. And, they have the QR code right on there to scan it. And for weddings and business events, it's nice to put a printed copy in a welcome bag. But yeah, and it is a digital file as well. So businesses can use these on their website or in social media, email marketing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. How did you come up with this concept?
Well, I think it's from wanting it to exist. I mean, it seems, I don't know. I think most good ideas start selfishly, honestly. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone to weddings out of town. And, I live on one side of the country. Most of my family lives on the other side of the country. So you don't just go to a wedding on the other side of the country for one day. You end up spending, 3 or 4 days in an area. And, if you don't know the area, it's it's work. It's work to figure out what to do and where to go and how far it is. And do I look at all the reviews on Yelp and TripAdvisor, and you pull up Google Maps and it shows you everything and it's completely overwhelming. And I thought, if I had the inside scoop from the host of the event or the wedding, that would really make me feel special. I'd feel like, wow, they really thought about my whole experience here and not just the 4 hours at the wedding. Uh, and they provided this to me. And now I have this cool, now I can structure my day knowing that I'm going to go for a walk over here, and then I can go to the coffee shop that's only 2 blocks from the walk. And, that kind of cool thing just really takes it up a notch. And that's, I think, honestly, that's where it all started, is selfishly, I want this.
Did you have a globe when you were a kid?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That's awesome, because I love maps too. And
Oh,
and still to this day, I love paper maps. I really, really do. I mean, I'm great having Google and everything, but to just hold a paper map is just something that's just really cool.
I fully agree. When I go to a city in another country, I often want a paper city map, just because and this started when I was a kid. I would just take out the atlas and look at it.
Right.
And just look. I was fascinated with maps. And to this day, if I go to a city, I'll literally just sit in a chair and look at the map for probably a half an hour and just learn all kinds of cool stuff about the city.
Okay, Lorianne, get ready. I'm fixing to throw some mail stuff out there. So now, to me, it's kind of unusual that girls or women would really like maps. To me, that's more of a guy thing. That being said, my wife used to be the navigator. We were going, she'd be the one reading the map.
Yeah, I think women get a bad rap with navigation and maps. I've met a lot of men who don't know their way out of a barn, and a lot of women who can read a map really well.
That was my favorite. I love geography, and I remember this one time, and of course, way back then, we had to do a trip across Canada, and we had to pick all the spots where we were going to stop, where we were going to visit, where we were going to stay. I picked the Holiday Inn all the way through. There's a little plug for Holiday Inn. And but then here's the fun fact, is that years later, about 5 years ago, my daughter was traveling right across Canada, and we used that same concept of, we had the map, we had where she was stopping, we had set up all of the hotel rooms were already set up, and how many hours she would work. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is like grade 8. My project in grade 8 is like coming to life. It was so cool. But someone who hasn't done that wouldn't think that way quite often in response to that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad it prepared you for real life.
Right?
But really, I mean, there is so much information on maps, like especially mountains, to see that, how high they are and all. Just a lot of stuff. If you just look at a map and don't really know, you have no idea of really how much information is on that map. You just look at this city, or whatever. And because I can remember being a Boy Scouts, having to do all that kind of stuff, So yeah, maps are pretty interesting.
They are, yeah. And I'm such a geek. I do a hashtag map geek a lot on my my social media posts. But on my Instagram feed, I love sharing cool maps. So I've done like historical map series where I show and educate about maps in the history of the world, and cool maps and funny maps, and there's all these different kinds of ways to display information, which are really fun. And I get into it.
Yeah.
Very
She's
cool.
just this random map, and it has a pin says, "You are here." Where am I? That'd be a good contest.
Yeah.
So who is your market? I mean, specifically.
Well, I have a couple. The weddings for sure, because that's where it originally started, and I just think it would add so much for the guests to have a map like this from the couple when they go to their wedding. And then other events like reunions, bar mitzvahs, business events like retreats and conferences. So the whole events industry is one big piece. And then another piece is the travel industry. So vacation rentals, Airbnbs, Verbos, cool hotels. I nothing against Marriott's, but I don't really feel like this is a kind of thing a Marriott would do. But I could totally see it being something a mom and pop would do. They can't compete with the Marriotts of the world, so they need to set themselves apart some other way. And if they can do that with something super cool and unique, I think, that's a big area that I love. Inns and bed and breakfasts, those kinds of places.
Yeah, yeah. I can
Yeah.
see that'd be, yeah. I can see where that'd really be good. How long, if somebody XYZ wants a hip map, what's the process and how long does it take to get the finished product?
Well, the host is the one that purchases the map, and then the users can use it for free. The app is completely free for everyone. So when the host purchases a map, I send them some instructions in a form, and they basically send me back their list and any sort of design ideas they have, and their colors and font style, things like that. And a couple weeks later, I'll send them a first draft, and I like to get on a Zoom call with them to meet them, because I absolutely love connecting and with people and meeting them. And we sort of go over the map and make some tweaks, and then they get the map on the app and digitally.
Now, how large of a scope can you do? So I'm just thinking about different thoughts about this. So let's say there's ancestry, or there's even, we have a friend who's a music junkie. So you've got all these different places that you like your favorite bands to put that on. And if you're going to visit there, because but what I'm saying is special interest people, but let's say that it's more on a more global scale. Would you work with that as well? Like,
Well, I could, yes. So I can make a map anywhere in the world. I have the software I use goes anywhere. When you think about a printed map on your screen, to use the Hip Maps app, it's really best to keep it at a city level. Otherwise, you start getting distortion, right? Because the globe is round and your screen is flat, and it starts looking pretty funky.
What about us flat earthers?
I don't know how to answer those questions. I'm a map maker. I can't do that.
So is your product, is it a monthly fee product, or do they just buy the basic?
Nope. It's a one-time deal. And, for a business that wants to keep it on the app year after year, I charge a really small fee to help offset the app's costs. But for an event, it's just a one-time deal.
Okay. What kind of feedback do you get from your customers?
Well, most of them think that this is one of the most fun things they've ever designed.
I can see where just use the hotels again. You go to a hotel and, hey, what's a good place? Oh, here, look, right here. Just do this. It tells you restaurants, movies, or play, whatever, all kind of different events. And it's on your phone, so you take it with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And how many people have ever made a map with everything on the map is their choice, right? Like they choose exactly what to put on the map. It's not, I don't choose it. They're the ones that are sharing their recommendations. I can help guide them. Like if they have 7 Mexican restaurants and they don't have any shopping, I can say, maybe we take a couple of those restaurants off there and put in a few shops for people to go to, But I think it's really exciting for people and businesses to see their choices on there, their names on there, their dates, their whatever it is, the conference name or the couple's name. It's pretty exciting to see that in an actual map form, and then to see it on the screen where it's laying right on top of Google Maps. It's just sitting right on top of it.
I love the fact that it is referral. It is something you're not going to a restaurant thinking, well, I wonder, I mean, you get the Google reviews and stuff, but if, you've got somebody that that's telling you, yeah, we've been there like 20 times because we just love it. Well, then that odds are they're not giving you a bad, place to go. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they can also say, we love the margaritas at this place and we love the pad thai at this other place, right? That's right in the app. So if you go somewhere, you can just pull it up and say, oh yeah, Chris and Casey love the blah, blah, blah at this place. Let's make sure we try that.
Yeah. So all those 7 Mexican restaurants, it could be the margaritas here, the fajitas here.
You're right.
Chips and hot
Maybe
sauce
you do need 7.
One food, one drink together though.
Yeah. That's really a unique idea.
Thank you. Yeah. Someone, when I first came out with this, which hasn't been that long, I came out with it this in June of 2021. Someone said, wow, you're a real innovator. And I thought, me? I just did something I had thought was a cool idea. And it was just such a funny moment to have someone give me a label that I never really thought I would have, right? There's like the people who they grow up and they're like, man, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an inventor. I want to, whatever it is, right? And then there's those of us who sort of get there not even really intending to.
So like what was by selfishly creating something that you want.
Exactly.
What was your real job?
My real job before this was designing vineyards. So I live in Sonoma County, California, and it's right next to Napa, and we've got tons and tons of vineyards here. And for 15 years, I did vineyard design and permitting because I have an environmental science background. So I did a lot of work with erosion control plans and I made maps to support those vineyards. So it was a pretty natural transition to just do more maps. I love making maps for wineries to use in their tasting rooms, and I still do those because I just love that.
Beautiful country there. Remember, I lived in Reno, Nevada. Yeah. We used to go visit there a few times. It's just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. We went to Napa and what's the Coronado down there one time. But anyway, so it's interesting that your passion, so to speak, is now your business.
I feel very fortunate that is how I've ended up. Yeah, and it's funny because my real passion is spreading joy, and I try to do it as many different ways as I can. And to get to a point where my business is spreading joy this way, which is in a way where I also love designing maps. And I also design jigsaw puzzles that are taking people's photos and making a map to go with them and designing a puzzle. And that is another way of spreading joy. I feel very, very fortunate that this is where I've ended up, because I know there's a lot of people who would love to do something and don't have the opportunity quite to get there.
Yeah, for sure. So how can our listeners reach out to you?
Well, my website's a really good place to go. It's hipmaps.com. That's HIPMAPS.com. It's got links to social media. Highly recommend following me on Instagram so you can see all the cool map geek stuff I put up there. And it's got, you can email me and all of that good stuff. And there's some really fun videos on my site that explains the concept of hip maps that are they're just fun animated videos to watch.
So Instagram is also
I saw
Hip
those.
Maps. You just look up Hip Maps under Instagram.
Yeah.
as well. And are you on
Yeah.
TikTok?
I am not on TikTok. I know.
No,
I'm a
my
little.
daughter told me, she goes, Mom, go on TikTok. I go, TikTok? Why? And now, of course, like we're on there. We get some pretty good views. We're really surprised. I mean, it's fun. But yeah, I was surprised. She was right. It's a good place to go. And the nice thing is too, is that, you know, whatever you put on TikTok, you can download on your phone and then just put on Instagram. It's so easy.
Yeah, I should. I've heard it a couple of times. Hey, you should be on TikTok. So I'll get there. I will.
Let us know when you are, and we'll definitely make sure that we follow you.
Great.
So-
Great.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
a
for being
lot.
here again. This is just fascinating, wonderful, wonderful information, and what a great idea. Thank you so much for sharing.
Well, thank you, Lorianne and Roy. I'm really happy to be on. I love your podcast. I love it. I listen to it all the time. So thank you. It's joy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We enjoyed having you.
This episode is brought to you by Myono, featuring their multifunctional USB microphone, very light, portable, affordable, and great for podcasters, and available on Amazon.